Okay, so first I'm going in with this like a bluish purple color, almost like a violet for my base. Just trying to get that packed in there. And really what I'm learning, because I am self-taught, I never went to cosmetology school, is that you start off with a little bit and then you add more, because it's easier if you starting off with a little bit, adding more, rather than if you just going in packing on a lot of color, because you're not going to really be able to lighten it. You're going to have to wipe it off. Okay, so now I'm going right back in with the same shade, and you can see it's starting to look a little bit more pigmented. I'm still just trying to pack that color closer to the bottom of my lid and fading it up. I don't know, I feel like I don't like when my eyeshadow goes up all the way to my eye for some strange reason. I don't know, but I feel like I have very wide space to work with, so I try to make it cover at least half my eye, but without going all the way up to touch my eyebrow. Okay, so now I'm really just trying to see how that color looks, if I think it's bright enough, if I want to fade it up a little bit more, if I want to, just try to buff it out, just so all my colors are blended smoothly, my transition is smooth. So I'm just buffing the top and just trying to fade it up without going too high and without making it too light, so I don't have to keep going in, packing it. Because then also you don't want to just pack a lot of color on your lid, because then that's when you have a lot of eyeshadow dropping on your cheeks, getting on your foundation. I have been told that I am kind of heavy-handed with my brush. I don't know, I feel like when I hold it closer to the bottom, I achieve the look I like more, but I do try to hold it closer to the top just so I don't have such a harsh look on my eyeshadow. So going back in with this little brush. A lot of these brushes I have are from MAC or from ELF. I believe I have some James Charles brushes. Right now it looks like I'm going in with my MAC brush. Also, excuse my nails. I was in the process of getting these taken off so I can go get my next set. Okay, so now I'm just looking at it, trying to see if I feel like it's up high enough, or if I want to try to bring it up a little bit more. seeing if I like how the colors laid out, if it's bright enough, or if I need it just a little bit darker. Honestly, I feel like that's up high enough, so I'm just go buff it a little bit just to bring it a little bit higher, just so after I add, my glitter and my lighter shades, you can still see that color peeking out a little bit at the top. So now I'm going in with this brush that I believe had no color on it, just for a smoother finish at the top. Also, I do like these fluffy brushes a lot more because it's easier to move it around the color, get it, buffed out, faded up. But also, it's sometimes, depending on how you control it, you can get the color moved places you don't really need it. So it's good to be careful with that. Make sure you're using your brush in a controlled way, just so you don't get that color everywhere. Okay, now I'm going in with this like a kind of burnt orange shade. Just trying to see how I like that. A lot of artists that I watch on YouTube or their Facebook, or even just a quick tutorial on their Instagram or TikTok, a lot of them I see they work backwards. So lately I've been just trying to see how that works for me, especially with using more than one color. I mean, different strokes for different folks, but I'm learning a lot of different methods I've used. They have ended up working out for me. So I'm always open to seeing new techniques and, trying them out, trying to see if it worked for me. Now I'm starting my other eye. So doing it the other way, I feel like didn't really work for me. So now I'm going in with this burnt orange color first. Just trying to pack that on my eye. Fluffy brush. I'm going to just buff that out. Try to take the color up without taking it a little too high. Also, smooth it out. So the motions that I've discovered work a lot for me are circular motions and the windshield wiper motions, just going back and forth. But I feel like if you want more control over your color, the circular motions are good, but if you're just trying to get that color packed over your eye, then the windshield wiper motion is definitely the way to go. just going in there, packing in that color, trying to take it up. I keep looking up because I'm trying to make sure that I don't go up too high on the other eye. Sometimes I tend to notice one eye is a little bit higher than the other, and it really irks me when I'm done. So I'll keep looking up, trying to make sure that, they're up high enough, they're even. And also I'll just try to make the top look as natural as possible, trying to make sure it doesn't look too harsh. So I'm just going to go in there with some swipe motions, a little bit of windshield wiper motions, and also just kind of dab in it, because dabbing builds the color. So now that I have my light burnt orange shade in there, I'm going to go in there with my bluish violet. Go and pack that color, but also try to do like a fading motion to where it's like they meet with a smooth transition, and one color is not, a little bit harsher than the other. I want both my colors to look really smooth. So once again, going back in with my fluffy brush, I'm trying to make my top look like a smooth transition. So you can even see the difference just on the two eyes with me going in with my base color first and then going in with my violet. It just makes the transition look a whole lot smoother compared to my other eye. So I'm just trying to go in, make sure these colors look like they're smoothly merging into each other and not just harshly packed on top of each other. So the difference between the eyes is really bothering me, so I just went in and wiped it off. Figure I just start over, that way they both look very similar, because I have this thing about my eyes looking different, and I hate when eyeshadow, just look like cousins instead of sisters, because I know sometimes it's hard to achieve the twin look. I've been learning that with my eyebrows. Also, I think I'm going to, upload some eyebrow tutorials. So on here, I'm going back in with my LA Girl concealer. I believe it's in the shade Fawn. It's either Fawn or Toffee. Those are my go-to concealers. I like LA Girl. I've been using her since I first started wearing makeup. And it really just started with, eyebrows, eyelashes, like a little lip gloss. And I'm going in with I believe that's also LA Girl concealer in the shade Fair, I believe. I feel like when you go in with the lighter concealer, it helps your colors pop more also. light, going back in with this violet. Trying to make sure my color's packed in there and it looks similar to my left though. So, back with my favorite brush. Just going in, making sure everything looks the same, so that when I put my concealer on and get into my next step, I'm not trying to go back and backtrack. So now I'm going back in, going back over both the eyes, just trying to make sure they both look light, they both look natural. One's not darker than the other. So now I'm going back in with my concealer to do my cut crease. You always want to start off low and then build up. That way you don't do your cut crease higher than what you really want. I've seen some people, they do a swipe and then they look up. I tried that. I felt like it took my concealer a little bit higher than what I wanted. So what I'll do is just like kind of tilt my head down. And then I'll just try to fill in those areas. Just so that I can control where my concealer goes. And then you have to be careful, especially if you're going in without letting your concealer dry all the way. Because if you look up a little too much, then now you have your lighter concealer up on your transition shades. And it's going to be kind of hard to go in and wipe that off and then, go back in with a lighter eyeshadow. Also, you might see that sticker on the back of my mirror. It's King Kovu stickers, tattoo artist out here in the Bay Area. He's a dope artist. That's also his Instagram, so you guys go ahead and go see what he's talking about. He always got some deals popping off. Definitely a cool artist. He works with your budget. Okay, now you see what I was talking about. You look up a little bit too high. And then you gotta try to go back in and fix it. So now I have to bring it up a little bit more. I mean, sometimes, depending on how your makeup is done, I've seen people who use the whole eye space and it looks great. So, it just all depends on your hand and the look that you're going for. Excuse my face. That's the face me and my sister do and we like, oh, okay. It's a little inside jokey joke. I've used is, or not only used, but I've seen on Instagram, TikToks, is going in with your finger. I've been told, the heat and oils from your finger usually makes your concealer just kind of melt into your eye, not to your skin more. So now I'm going in with my MAC brush in that violet shade, trying to do like a transition kind of look. Okay, so now I'm going in with my Julius palette in this like a icy blue shade. I'm going to just pack that on there with my finger. So after getting that blue eyeshadow in far enough the way I wanted it to, I'm going to go in with this white eyeshadow. And just try to also pack that on there, make them look like they're going through a smooth transition in both eyes. So now I'm just going back in, trying to make things look real smooth. I'm gonna go over that white and that blue to where it looks like the transition is real smooth. It's not too harsh. Going back in with this violet shade. Again, just trying to make everything look smooth. Just make it look like a smooth transition. Like all my colors are just blending and laying into each other without looking so harsh. Trying to make sure both eyes look the same. Okay, so now doing my liquid eyeliner. That's also I believe that was the what was that? I think it was my NYX eyeliner. Pretty sure it's my NYX cosmetic eyeliner. Just trying to get those as even as possible. I feel like it's easier to make it a little extra long because you know you go in and clean it with your concealer. So now I'm about to get into concealer, foundation, bronzer. I tend to have to move my scarf because I'll get makeup all on my scarf, or sometimes when I take it off, I'll have like this line where my foundation is not blended all the way up to where my baby hairs is. So right now, we're going in with, I believe that's my Maybelline foundation in the shade Cocoa. So just putting that on there. I'm gonna blend that all out. Now, mind you, this video is like from a while back, and I can definitely tell just from how much foundation I put on my face, because now I use like half of that, and I'll just use that brush to spread it all out. Concealer, just put that under my highlight points. And if you notice, I have not blended in my foundation yet because I want to wait till the end, blend out everything. So now I'm going in with my sponge. I'm going to just blend everything together. I always start with my foundation and then make my way into my concealer. Just prefer to start with the darkest shade first, because then once you start messing with that concealer and getting that lighter color on your sponge, it's going to be noticeable if you start dragging it to other areas on your face. So right now I'm really just working on pushing that in, pressing that into the skin, trying to also get that to look like a smooth transition. So I'm just trying to make sure I have my nose blended well. I tend to have to go over my nose a few times just to really get that like sharpness on it that I like. So right now I'm just going over all my concealer, trying to make sure everything looks very well transitioned, looks smooth. So now I'm gonna go in with my matte. It's my Morph. So now I'm about to go in with my LA Girl bronzer. Also, all the brushes, the products, palettes, all the way down to the lashes, everything I used will be in the description box. So on a lot of makeup tutorials, I see they usually do like a 3 shape along the side of the face. Over the years of wearing foundation, I really just discovered that I have to really keep looking in the mirror to see where I want everything, just so, it doesn't really change the face of my shape too much. It doesn't make my chin look super long. So right now I'm just going in with that, trying to apply it down there on my jawline. I've already done my nose. I always do my nose first so that it can kind of dry before I start trying to, transition it in with my sponge, just so that way it really holds that shape that I want. make sure my concealer is where I need it. Make sure everything looks how I need it. But also I do always go in with some setting powder, just so I can try to create that sharpness and give my face that real good dimension. So while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to start lining my lips. Try to get that look going. I feel like it's good to let your setting powder sit for a while. Not too long though, because then that's when it starts to look a little too light under your eyes in those areas that you've went over with your powder. So I'm just going in with this dark brown shade on my lips. I'm going to just start packing that on there. Now I'm just going in there with my little hint of red. I like a medium kind of blush. Sometimes I don't wear blush, but when I do, this is my go-to shade. And it's so funny because it's actually an eyeshadow out of one of my palettes, and I like it a lot better than any blush I've ever used. So after I clean up the setting powder, I go back in, just add a little more blush, just in case if, the setting powder came up a little bit higher than I wanted. I can just go back in with that blush, make it just look a little bit more defined. brought my blush down farther where I want it. I'm going to go back in with some setting powder. I'm going to put that through my cheeks, on my chin, my nose, all the areas I feel like I want highlighted. Now I'm going to go in with my highlight my nose, above my lips. Sometimes I do the corner of my eyes, but I don't believe I did. Always under my eyebrows, my cheekbones. Sometimes, depending on the kind of look I do, I also do the middle of my forehead. So yeah, just going in with my highlighter, trying to define under my brows, make sure everything looks good. And we're going to go in on the cheekbones. I've seen some things where they do it like from under the eyebrow to the cheekbone, like in the C shape. I'm still, working my way around that, figuring out what exactly works for me. But as far as right now, it's this, just going in and putting it in my own place. So again, I'm just making sure my nose, above my lip, under my eyebrows, cheekbones, everything's nice and highlighted. Everything looks good. Everything looks the same. So now that I've went in there with another one of my fluffy brushes and I blended in on my highlighter, now I'm just going in, putting that violet shade under my eyes. I've always tend to like having a little color under my eyes. Sometimes I'll even go in on my waterline with the white, depending on, like if I feel like it'll add a pop to the color. going in with my mink eyelashes. They are, I believe they're called cashmere. Just putting those on. I'm trying to make sure I don't put it on top of my liquid eyeliner and I actually put it where I need it. Okay, so this is the look. I'm just trying to make sure I have my eyelashes actually laid down. They look good. Everything looks alright. So, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.